there's a little bit of controversy with some pastors that are in their teachings. Let's go over 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. How about, give us your take on that?
Yeah, this, to me, this is the key. This is one of the key passages that people use against the rapture. And can we read it? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think the flow of the text is often misunderstood. And I've done a lot of study on this. And especially, not trying to be super technical, but if you look at it in the Greek, it's very helpful to understand the flow, because Paul is making an argument here, and there's some very technical things which we won't get into today, but people just go, oh yeah, it's very technical, but he says this, we know that Paul, of course, has taught the rapture in chapter 4 of 1 Thessalonians.
Right,
So in chapter 5, he's talking about the times and seasons. So there's a context of the church here, of the Thessalonians, that he had taught them about prophecy. He had taught them about the day of the Lord, about the Antichrist, nothing. And then they responded with some questions. They thought that they were possibly in the tribulation period.
Right.
And so he writes, he says, now concerning the coming of our Lord, Jesus Christ, and our being gathered together to him. Well, that's the rapture.
Right.
Okay, so then what's happening here is he talking about the rapture, or is he talking about, which we'll see, he says, so he brings up the rapture idea. The rapture comes up first. We ask you about the rapture, us being gathered. We ask you, brothers, not to be quickly shaken in mind or alarmed, either by a spirit or a spoken word or a letter seeming to be from us, to the effect that the day of the Lord has come. So what he does now is he switches topics. He says, hey, about the rapture, don't get confused. But the confusion comes if you think that the day of the Lord has arrived.
Right.
He said, now I'm going to talk about the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord is the 7-year period of judgment, tribulation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to land on the earth as a surprise. He said that in chapter 5 of 1 Thessalonians. It'll come on them when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them.
Right.
So he says, let no one deceive you in any way. Verse 3, for that day, now the word that day is not in the Greek. It's not. But the context, he just got done saying, let nobody be alarmed, as if the day of the Lord has arrived. It's not even will come or even has come. The Greek is very specific. That the day of the Lord has arrived. He says, to let no one deceive you, that day will not arrive unless the apostasy has come first. And the man of sin has been revealed, the sin of destruction. So what he's saying there is, many people will say, oh, well, first of all, what has to happen before the rapture is the apostasy.
Right.
Well, first of all, the rapture's not
nothing has to happen.
No, and the rapture is not being talked about. He brought it up as an introduction into the day of the Lord topic. And then he says, by the way, they go, oh, well, fine. Then the apostasy has to happen before the day of the Lord. If you notice in there, it never uses the word before.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
It says, it's basically saying, hey, if you thought, let's say that the conference started today, and yesterday you and I were talking here, oh, Mondo, everything's going so crazy, I feel like I'm in the conference. And I would say, hey, Ken, look, the conference cannot be here.
Right.
Because Billy speaks first.
Right.
Have we seen Billy speak first?
No.
So then we clearly can't be in the conference. And so that's what he's saying there. It's not that something Billy's going to... How could Billy speak before the conference?
Right.
He can't.
Right.
What Paul is saying is that the day of the Lord cannot have arrived. And he's saying, hey, guys, have you seen the apostasy? No. Well, then you're clearly... The day of the Lord is not here. It has not arrived. Do you see the man of sin? No. Well, clearly the day of the Lord is not here. That's the flavor of what he's saying.
Right.